Picture this. You are sitting at lunch, about to slather some creamy mayo on your sandwich. But have you ever wondered how mayonnaise is actually made? Well, buckle up, because we're going inside a mayonnaise factory to see how this magic is made on a massive scale. First things first, let's talk ingredients. Mayonnaise might look simple, but it's a delicate balance of just a few key items. The main players: oil, egg yolks, vinegar, and sometimes mustard, and some salt and sugar for flavor. Talking about mustard, we have attached a full episode about mustard making to this video, so stick around until the end. It's a really fascinating process, I can tell you. But now, let's get back to mayo. It all starts here with eggs. This factory handles thousands of eggs every day, and it all begins with a thorough quality check. Machines scan each egg for cracks, deformities, and freshness. Only the best eggs make the cut, because in mayonnaise, there's no room for error. Next, these eggs are sent through this impressive cracking machine. This device uses precise pressure to crack each eggshell cleanly. Then, a cleaver separator divides the yolks from the whites. For mayonnaise, it's all about the yolks. They're the secret to creating that smooth, creamy texture we all love. But don't worry, the whites don't go to waste. They're sent off to make meringues, marshmallows, and other treats. It's fascinating how many different products can be made from eggs, isn't it? What is your favorite egg product? Are you team salty mayo or are you team sweet marshmallows? Comment below the video. I'm curious to know. Once the yolks are collected, they're pumped into these massive mixing tanks. Think of these as the heart of the operation. Here, the yolks meet their essential partners: oil, vinegar, and a pinch of salt. Fun fact, did you know that the oil makes up around 70 to 80% of mayonnaise? That's why the quality of the oil is so important. It's literally the backbone of this condiment. And now, dear friends, begins the magic of emulsifiers. Egg yolks contain lecithin, a natural emulsifier that brings oil and vinegar together in perfect harmony. This process is called emulsification, and it's the secret to mayo's silky consistency. The mixing starts slowly with the egg yolks and vinegar whisked together first. Then the oil is added very gradually to prevent separation. This process is super precise. Add the oil too quickly and the emulsion could break, leaving you with a gloopy mess. Factories use computer-controlled systems to ensure the oil is added at just the right speed and amount. Guys, if you like watching our videos and want to see more behind-the-scenes videos of how your favorite foods are made, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can produce even more fascinating food factory videos for you. Now, plain mayo is great, but this factory doesn't stop there. Depending on the batch, additional ingredients like mustard, garlic, or even spicy chipotle are added. These precision dispensers measure each ingredient down to the gram to maintain consistency. Let's give this a try. Time to add a pinch of paprika. Before this mayo is ready for your table, it has to pass a series of rigorous quality checks. The first test: consistency. These machines measure the mayo's thickness to make sure it spreads smoothly on a sandwich but doesn't drip off your spoon. This device, called a viscosimeter, measures the mayo's flow rate. The ideal mayonnaise should have a velvety texture, not too thick, not too runny. Once the mayo passes quality control, it's time to package it up. These conveyor belts move empty jars into positions where the high-precision filling machines pumps in the perfect amount of mayo. Just look at how smoothly it flows. After the jars are filled, this sealing machine places the lids on with airtight precision. The jars then go through a high-temperature steam tunnel to ensure they're completely sanitized and safe to eat. Now it's time to dress these jars up. Labels are applied by this rapid-fire machine, which aligns and sticks them perfectly every time. These labels include everything you need to know: ingredients, nutritional info, and of course, the brand logo. Once labeled, the jars go through one last inspection to check for any imperfections. If a jar doesn't meet the factory standards, it's sent back for rework. These forklifts here move the pallets into refrigerated trucks, ensuring the mayo stays fresh on its journey to your local grocery store. This factory produces thousands of jars every day, destined for kitchens all around the world. But before we wrap up, here are some fun mayo facts for you. Number 1. Did you know that mayonnaise was invented in 1756 by a French chef named Duc de Richelieu? He created it after a successful military victory. Talk about a celebration sauce. Number 2. Americans consume over $2 billion worth of mayonnaise every year, making it the most popular condiment in the US. Number 3. Mayonnaise is a surprisingly versatile ingredient. It's not just for sandwiches. You can use it in baking, as a base for salad dressings, and even as a hair mask for silky smooth locks. Yeah, no joke. And now the best part. Time to taste the final product. Let's see if this mayo lives up to its creamy reputation. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. Smooth, tangy, and just the right balance of richness. Knowing how much care and precision goes into making this, I think y'all appreciate it even more from now on. And there you have it, folks, the incredible journey of how eggs, oil, and a little bit of science come together to make mayonnaise. Next time you spread it on a sandwich or whip up in a salad dressing, you'll know the story behind that creamy spoonful. Picture this. You are sitting at lunch, about to dip a fry in this delicious honey mustard. But have you ever stopped to wonder how exactly this zippy yellow condiment comes to life? Today, we're taking you behind the scenes of a mustard factory to discover how tiny seeds are transformed into this tangy sensation. It all begins here, in mustard fields. These vibrant plants are grown all over the world, with Canada, India, and parts of Europe leading the charge. The magic comes from their tiny seeds, black, brown, and yellow, all of which have unique flavors and heat levels. Black seeds are intense and spicy, brown seeds are moderately hot, and yellow seeds are milder, but bring that iconic bright color. The journey of mustard making begins with planting. Farmers plant these seeds in late winter or early spring, depending on the region. But wait, it's not as simple as throwing seeds around. Most mustard farmers use high-tech seed drills to ensure the seeds are planted at the perfect depth and spacing. Why? Because mustard seeds love room to grow, and the right conditions make all the difference. Once in the ground, the seeds germinate quickly, sprouting into seedlings in just a few days. In just a few weeks, they shoot up, producing lush green leaves and eventually delicate yellow flowers. These flowers aren't just pretty, they're vital. Bees and other pollinators flock to them, helping the plants produce seed pods. These pods are the ultimate prize for mustard farmers. Before we continue with the harvesting of those little beauties, I would like to ask you for a quick favor. We are putting our hearts into the videos for you, and your support, it means the world to us. So please subscribe to our channel, like and share with your favorite people, and let's continue our journey together through more fascinating food discoveries. After about 90 to 120 days, the plants are ready for harvest. You can tell because the pods turn golden brown and start to dry out. Most farmers use combines to harvest mustard. These machines cut the plants, separate the seeds from the pods, and leave the remaining plant material in the field as organic matter. Now, as the seeds are collected from the fields, they are being transported to the factory. The first step? Cleaning and sorting. Mustard seeds are harvested with all sorts of debris, twigs, dirt, even tiny rocks. Factories use sieves, air blowers, and magnets to separate the seeds from unwanted materials. Look at this. These machines work overtime to ensure only the best seeds make it through. Next, the seeds head to the crushing stage. why crush them? Inside every seed lies a treasure trove of oils and flavors that only emerge when the seed is cracked open. Oh, and by the way, did you know how healthy mustard is? Mustard is low in calories and contains negligible fat, making it a great addition to meals for flavor without adding significant calories. Also, mustard seeds contain several vitamins and minerals, including vitamin A, vitamin C, B vitamins, minerals such as calcium, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus, which are good for bone health and muscle function. But this video is about the production process of mustard, so let's move on with the factory process. So, where did we stop? Yes, crushing the seeds. These industrial rollers break the seeds into coarse pieces, creating what's called mustard meal. The crushed seeds release enzymes that interact with natural compounds to produce mustard's signature heat. But wait, it's not mustard yet. Mustard meal is combined with liquids like water, vinegar, or even wine, depending on the recipe. This step isn't just for consistency, it's where chemistry kicks in. When the crushed seeds meet liquid, enzymes break down compounds called glucosinolates. The result? That unmistakable mustardy heat and aroma. But there's a catch. The type of liquid and temperature control the intensity of the flavor. Want fiery mustard? Use cold water. Want something milder? Warm things up. Once the base mixture is ready, it's time for the flavor fiesta. Factories add spices, herbs, and even sweeteners to create unique mustard varieties. This is where recipes go from basic to brilliant. Honey mustard, Dijon, spicy brown, you name it, it's all about the add-ins. And speaking of Dijon mustard, did you know it gets its name from Dijon, France? It's made from white wine instead of vinegar, giving it that sophisticated kick. By the way, what's your favorite type of mustard? Are you team honey mustard or team Dijon mustard? Leave us a comment below the vid. I'm curious to know. After mixing, the mustard gets one last grind to achieve that perfectly smooth texture. Or if you're a fan of whole grain mustard, it's left a little chunky for extra bite. This texture is everything. Factories use high-tech grinders to ensure every batch is silky smooth or delightfully rustic, depending on the style. Before mustard makes its way to your table, it undergoes pasteurization, a gentle heating process that ensures it's safe to eat and has a long shelf life. Then it's off to the bottling line, where machines work like clockwork to fill, seal, and label hundreds of jars or bottles per minute. It's mesmerizing to watch. From here, the jars and bottles are boxed up and shipped to grocery stores around the globe. And just like that, mustard is ready for its moment in the spotlight. Your sandwich. Now comes the best part, tasting. Mustard is so versatile. It can be tangy, sweet, spicy, or even smoky. It's perfect on hot dogs, pretzels, burgers, you name it. So good. And to think it all started with those humble little seeds. So, next time you reach for a jar of mustard, you'll know just how much work and a little science goes into making this condiment king. What's your favorite way to use mustard? Let me know in the comments. Now, picture this. You are sitting in your favorite restaurant and about to drip a little bit of that dark, savory sauce into your stir-fried noodles. But have you ever stopped to wonder how it's made its way to your table? Today, we're uncovering the secrets of one of the most iconic and versatile condiments in the world, soy sauce. Before we dive into the process, let's start with the basics. Soy sauce has been around since ancient China and becoming a staple in Asian cultures, especially in Japanese cuisine. Today, it's made using just a few simple ingredients: soybeans, wheat, water, and salt. Soybeans serve as a cornerstone ingredient in many traditional Japanese foods. It's also a pretty versatile ingredient and is the base for many staple products in Japanese cuisine. Let me quickly show you some of the most popular and globally well-known soybean products. Miso, a fermented soybean paste used in soups, marinades, and sauces. Tofu. It is made from soy milk, and it's valued for its high protein content and versatility. It is used in soups, hot pots, and desserts. Natto, fermented soybeans known for their strong smell and sticky texture, often eaten with rice for breakfast, is believed to have numerous health benefits. And finally, probably the most popular product made from soybeans, the soy sauce. Our journey begins here, on a soybean farm. Soybeans, rich in protein and umami, are carefully cultivated and harvested. Farmers ensure the beans are healthy and mature, usually around late summer. Farmers use combines to collect the beans, separating them from the pods in one swift motion. It's like a giant vacuum cleaner for soybeans. The harvested beans are then cleaned and sent off for their big transformation. Here we are at the factory. The soybeans arrive along with another key ingredient, wheat. Both will play a starring role in creating that rich, savory soy sauce flavor we all love. Step 1 is preparing the soybeans. They're soaked in water to soften them up. This can take several hours, depending on the type of soybeans used. After soaking, the beans are steamed to make them tender and ready for fermentation. Meanwhile, wheat, our second star ingredient, is roasted to bring out its nutty aroma. Then it's crushed into smaller pieces. This combination of cooked soybeans and roasted wheat is the foundation for soy sauce's complex flavor. It might not look like soy sauce yet, but trust me, this is where all the magic starts. Before we continue, I would like to ask you for a quick favor. We are putting our hearts into the videos for you, and your support means the world to us. So please subscribe to our channel, like and share with your favorite people, and let's continue our journey together through more fascinating food discoveries. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The cooked soybeans and roasted wheat are mixed together, and a special mold called Aspergillus oryzae is sprinkled over the mixture. This mold is key to kickstarting the fermentation process. The mixture is then spread out in shallow trays and left in a warm, humid room for a few days. During this time, the mold grows and breaks down the soybeans and wheat, creating what's called koji. Koji is like the heart and soul of soy sauce. Think of koji as a flavor factory in itself. It's breaking down proteins into savory amino acids and starches into sugars, laying the groundwork for soy sauce's signature umami taste. Once the koji is ready, it's time for the next step, fermentation. The koji is mixed with a salty brine, just water and salt, to create what's known as moromi. This thick, soupy mixture is transferred into massive fermentation tanks. And here's the part that requires patience. The moromi ferments for several months, sometimes up to a year or more. During this time, natural bacteria and yeast work together to develop the deep, rich flavors that make soy sauce so special. Imagine a slow cooking process on a microscopic level. The proteins in the soybeans break down into amino acids like glutamate. Hello, umami. The wheat adds sweetness and complexity, and the salt keeps everything preserved and balanced. Throughout the fermentation process, the moromi is stirred regularly to ensure everything is evenly mixed and the flavors develop uniformly. Factories often use automated machines to handle this part, but the concept remains the same as it's been for centuries. By now, the moromi has transformed into a rich, aromatic blend. But wait, we're not done yet. Once the fermentation is complete, it's time to extract the liquid gold. The moromi is placed into special cloth bags and then pressed to separate the liquid soy sauce from the solid remains. Modern factories use hydraulic presses for this step, applying tons of pressure to extract every drop of soy sauce. The liquid that comes out is unpasteurized soy sauce, packed with flavor, but not quite ready yet. And what happens to the leftover solids, you ask? They're often used as animal feed or fertilizer. Next, the raw soy sauce is pasteurized to ensure it's safe to consume and has a consistent flavor. During this step, the liquid is gently heated, which also helps to enhance its aroma and color. It's like giving the soy sauce a final polish, making sure it's as delicious and shelf-stable as possible. Before the soy sauce heads to the bottling line, it goes through rigorous quality control. There's even a taste test. Yep, someone's job is to sip soy sauce for quality assurance. Where can I sign up for that gig? Once it passes all the tests, the soy sauce is bottled, sealed, and labeled. Factories can produce thousands of bottles per hour, ensuring that this liquid umami reaches tables around the world. And just like that, the soy sauce is ready for its journey to your kitchen. And now for the best part, tasting it. Soy sauce isn't just a condiment, it's an essential ingredient that enhances so many dishes. It's amazing to think about all the care and time that goes into making this little bottle of flavor. So there you have it, the incredible process of how soy sauce is made. From soybeans and wheat to the rich, savory condiment we all love. Next time you drizzle soy sauce on your favorite dish, you'll know just how much work went into creating it. Hey there, syrup lovers! Did you know that the maple syrup industry in North America produces around 3.5 million gallons of syrup every year? That's a lot of maple goodness. But here's the thing. Making that syrup is no easy feat. It takes a precise combination of nature, tradition, and technology to create that golden, sweet liquid we all know and love. So, how exactly is maple syrup made? Well, let's take a deep dive into the process. But before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more sweet content. Let's begin where all the magic starts, tapping the trees. In early spring, when the temperatures start to fluctuate between freezing nights and warm days, the sap in sugar maple trees begins to flow. But how do we get that sap out? Well, we need to tap the trees. Tapping is done by drilling a small hole in the tree trunk and inserting a metal spout called a tap. These taps are usually connected to buckets or modern tubing systems that run between trees to collect the sap. The sap is mostly water, with just a little bit of sugar in it, about 2 to 3%. And it takes a lot of sap to make just 1 gallon of syrup. In fact, it takes about 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of pure maple syrup. After the trees are tapped, the sap begins to flow. But how does it get from the trees to the sugar shack where the real magic happens? Well, nature does most of the work here. The freezing nights and warming days cause pressure changes inside the tree that make the sap rise up through the trunk and flow out of the tap. This process can last for a few weeks during the early spring when the conditions are just right. The sap flows best on days when the temperature is above freezing but the nights are still cold. This temperature fluctuation causes pressure to build up inside the tree, forcing the sap out. Once the sap has been collected, it's time to move it to the next stage, harvesting the sap. In a traditional maple syrup operation, this involves gathering buckets filled with sap and transporting them to a storage tank. In more modern systems, tubing is used to transport the sap directly to a central location. Once the sap is in the tank, it's ready for the next big step, concentrating. Fresh maple sap is mostly water and it takes a lot of sap to make syrup. So before we can start boiling, we need to concentrate that sap to save time and energy. Enter reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis is a process where the sap is filtered through membranes that separate the water from the sugar. By pushing the sap through these special filters under pressure, we can remove a lot of water content before it even hits the evaporator. This makes the next step, evaporation, much faster and more energy efficient. This saves a lot of time and wood, which is good for the environment and for the syrup maker's bottom line. Now we're getting to the good stuff, evaporation. After reverse osmosis has done its job, we take the concentrated sap and boil it down in a giant evaporator. The evaporator is an industrial-sized pan that sits over a fire or a propane burner. The goal here is simple: get rid of as much water as possible until the sap becomes thick enough to be syrup. As the sap boils, it changes. The water evaporates and the syrup slowly starts to take shape, changing color and becoming more concentrated. This is a delicate process because we need to boil the sap to exactly the right consistency and temperature. The syrup is done when it reaches about 219 degrees Fahrenheit, 104 degrees Celsius. At that point, the sap has reached about 66% sugar content, and the liquid is thick enough to be considered syrup. But boiling it to the right temperature isn't just about making syrup. It also brings out the flavor. That's where the Maillard reaction comes into play. This is a process that happens when sugars and amino acids in the sap react together under heat. It's what gives syrup its rich, complex flavor and its darker color. As the sap boils, the sugars in the sap break down and caramelize, creating those delicious caramel and butterscotch flavors we love. The longer the sap boils, the darker and richer the syrup becomes, which is why late-season syrup has that bold, robust flavor. So, next time you pour syrup over your pancakes, you can thank the Maillard reaction for all that deep, caramel goodness. After the syrup is ready, it's filtered one last time to remove any final impurities. And then it's poured into bottles or jars. From here, it's ready to be labeled, packaged, and shipped out to stores all over the world. And that's it. From tree to table, the journey of maple syrup is a sweet one that requires precision, skill, and a little bit of magic from both nature and technology. Now, every time you pour syrup on your waffles or pancakes, you'll know exactly how it made its way to your plate.